So, hello everyone, welcome back to
Mind over mess.
This is your host Shiva with you. I know it's been a lot of delay, but today we are having a very special guest on our show who is a senior software developer at Quantify and also architect associate along with being a developer associate. So, without any further ado, let me welcome Mr. Sarthak Dhawan to our show. Welcome to the show, Sarthak. How are you?
Hi Shiva, I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
I'm also doing great. So before we get into the details of how about your work, let me know more about how it was growing up for you and also how you got your first role in tech. So both the things.
I have done my bachelor's in computer engineering from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, and I graduated in 2021. And so it was basically the first COVID batch that was graduated, as in 2020. And after that, it was our first batch that was graduated. At that time, we were not so much confident that how the placements would turn out to be, because all around the world there was a mass layoff that we were seeing. That was a very traumatic time for people, but that majorly was in 2020. So basically the batch that was majorly hit was a batch before us, and by the time our placements came in, it was a little settled down, and we had a clear picture that how the things are going to be once the placement session starts. So yeah, tech for me was not a very new thing. I was into IT and computer science and all the computer subjects from the my school only. I have been into Java since around 2013. I am coding in Java from my school time. And yeah, once I got into the college, I came to know more about how vast the tech field is, and I tried a lot into in the front end, learning JavaScript, React, and all. But turned out to be that it was not my forte, as I was not very much good with the front end part. I was more comfortable with data and back end. When I joined in tech, I started as a framework engineer. So basically, a framework engineer is like a jack of all trades and master of none. So they are made to do all the things like data, some of the platform architecture, a little bit of development and all, based on what the project needs are. And yeah, I started off as a framework engineer with Quantify. I started off as an intern in 2021 January, and by that time I was also in my last semester of college. But yeah, when I started with Quantify as a full time employee, I started as a data engineer. I also had my training as a data engineer, but later on, when I went into a project, when I started working, I I had more understanding of the backend, and I was also working a lot into backend. So I later on shifted my role to a software engineer. So that is how my journey has been.
I see. You said like Jacob, I would like to add, it's better than just being a master of one. It's the full saying. And I would like to know more about your experience at Quantify as well. Like, how is the work culture? Is it like really balancing or promising kind? What kind of?
Yeah, in Quantify, so it's been 4 years with Quantify now. I would be completing 4 years as full time employee in July. So in these 4 years, how I have seen Quantify is, it's not more of the other service based companies like Infosys or TCS and all. And because we know how these companies work and how they treat their juniors and the freshers that come in. But with Quantify, it's a little different. The freshers are not seen here as that is gonna do work all day long and keep dragging you along. But yeah, for freshers in Quantify, the things are very streamlined. So the first 3 or 4 months when a fresher joins, there is a lot of trainings that they have to go through, so that they are capable to handle the clients, they are capable to handle the workload, and they are capable enough to understand the technology in depth. The workloads are quite erratic. It's not like that always you will be under pressure for something.
It's more like helping you to grow as well. I saw when I was reading about you, I realized that you did your internship as well in Coding Ninjas and app. So how was it experience there and how you got the internship in the first day? So about this.
Yes, AppTech basically it conducts the online examinations. So I was intern with the EBG part of that examination board governance. So basically, the work over there was to get the systems ready for the examinations, make the servers ready. There used to be server computers on which so AppTech doesn't at that point of time. Now I don't know what has changed there, but in 2019 there was no cloud system for AppTech. Everything was running on their local servers. Wherever there was used to be an examination, they had their devices which used to gather all the information of the exams and all. So yeah, that was good. I that was my first flavor of corporate life, that how things work and how you have to interact with your seniors, how you have to interact with your colleagues, and how to work in an environment where you have to also convey your ideas but also listen to the others, which is a very important thing. So if someone is on a position bigger than you or they have more years of experience, then definitely they know a lot of things that you might not know. So yeah, that was one thing. With Coding Ninjas, I was the campus ambassador for Coding Ninjas. So initially, I started off as a campus ambassador for Thapar Institute only. But later on, I went into the core team. I was in link with the marketing team as well. So basically, we were to handle or we were to look around all the marketing campaigns and all the hackathons or the events that Coding Ninjas could execute in the colleges. Like there are multiple events that happen at college levels. There are a few college fests which conduct technical competitions regarding to coding and all. With that, Coding Ninja 1 was like still now it's the biggest milestone in terms of the networking that I have achieved because I was working with Coding Ninjas in 2020, 2019, 2020. I was working with them. And from that time, the friends that I have made, the network that I have made is still active and we still are in regular connects with each other. And all those folks are bringing laurels in their life. Some are placed in Zepto, some are placed in Zomato. So all these big names in the startup culture that we see, these folks are placed there and working quite well. Uh, Coding Ninjas was definitely one of a very big player in terms of networking in my life, that I would say. And yeah, then definitely there was the college placements and all through which I got into Quantify. So yeah, that was all about that.
You made it super easy. You really broke down every single thing for us to understand. And now, what I was thinking about networking, as I mentioned, how important it is to network with people. Because, like, if you want a job, if you have a better connection, you can get better jobs. But is it like really important or nahi hai to chalega?
No, I would say skills are one thing, but network is definitely another thing. So skills will only help you in a closed room, but in an open room, your networking and your networking skills are gonna help you. If you have technical skills, good technical skills, I would say they are all subpar if you don't have right communication skills. We have seen a lot of people we come across every day that they are very good in the technical part, they are very good in their technical skills, but their communication skills are not up to the level. So due to that, what happens is that even though they work very good or even though they are very excellent in their work, they are not able to explain that, they are not able to ideate that, they are not able to bring other people on the same page. Bringing other people on the same page is a very important part of your corporate life because you cannot step ahead when people are not in consensus with you. So networking skills definitely I would say are above technical skills and above the all the other skills that you have, because that is only one thing that is going to make you stand out. And that should not be the only case that a person is very good at networking and communication. and not good at the other thing. So there should be a skill that is there to back you up. But yeah, definitely networking is very important in today's life.
So, can you please answer how someone can get off campus placement in this AI driven world? Because it's hard to get a job nowadays. Everybody is just chat GPT based.
Yeah, see, ChatGPT has definitely changed. I'll not only say ChatGPT, but there behind the scenes there are a lot of AI tools that common public don't know about, and they are just making things more difficult for hiring processes and for the recruiters to look into. There are a lot of shady softwares that are in the market that help you crack all these recruitment drives and all. One thing that I would like to suggest people is that don't focus on AI much right now, because AI is to use AI also you should know what thing you want out of that. Not all the time AI will be correct. There will be a lot of flaws in the responses that you get from AI, because I am working very closely with AI related products. In, so on regular basis in, we we interact with the LLM models, different types of LLM models for different types of things. So not all the times the responses that you'll get out of LLM will be genuine responses. So you should have your own quantitative and qualitative skills to rule out what is right and what is wrong, because at the end LLMs are only working on the data that is already present on internet, and it is not that all the data that is on internet is correct. There are a lot of flaws in that too. uh, Take a reference from AI, but don't rely on the AI. Build your skills, build your understanding, because if you will not build those skills or those things with age, it will be very difficult for your brain to train on that skills. And once you are into management or once you are into high level tech, then AI is not going to help you, because you will be solving the problems that are not existent till now. Most of the times, the answers that you will get out of AI is only that for the problems that currently exist. But what if there comes out a problem that you need to solve that doesn't exist? And if you don't have those skills, then you won't be able to solve those problems.
Take care of it, and so do our viewers, hopefully. And now I saw you got certification, AWS certified you are, and then other stuff. So how much importance does certification has? Because whenever we work, we think कि ये वाला certificate ले लेंगे, ये भी कर लेंगे, Google Bash ले लेंगे. So will that be really useful when we're going towards recruiters and to company? What about that?
Uh, to be honest, at a college level, that's not that helpful, because AWS is very vast. GCP, Azure, they are very vast. Even if I have those certifications and I work regularly with these platforms, I'll say that I only know the tip of the iceberg, and there is a lot more that still needs to be explored. And every year, every 6 months, every quarter, AWS keeps on updating their services, keeps on adding new services. If we talk about from a professional front, yes, certifications are important. Certifications are a proof that you have done something, and it's a proof that you have skills in a certain sector. But do certifications tell you that you have the right skills? No, that's not right. Because in certifications, you only get the verbal questions that you need to answer. You only get scenario based questions that you need to answer. And in that, you also have some kind of margin that you can answer wrong. But in real life scenarios, that margin is very small. You, as an engineer, so when I was in college, I still remember there was a subject, mechanical engineering subject was there. So it comes in the first year. I there was an examination and I wrote an answer, and that answer was off by like around 0.5. There was very small difference in that, and the teacher cancelled that question out and didn't give me the marks for any of the steps. And when I went to the teacher and asked that lecturer that why I'm not given the answer to all the steps and all the working that I have done, it was only the answer calculation part was wrong. To which he replied that you are an engineer, you can't afford to make such small mistakes also. So, first of all, as an engineer, we need to understand that it's not only that we are making something, it's that someone's money is dependent on that, or someone's life could be dependent on that, right? So if we have seen multiple scenarios wherein Zero, the application, has crashed, uh, and people have lost lakhs of rupees, crores of rupees due to those crashes. So as an engineer, we cannot afford such problems or such kind of misses in our execution or in the working that we do. So yeah, certificates definitely are a verification. Like on Instagram, there is a verified profile that yeah, this person is verified that this is true, but the kind of content that is there on that profile it's on you, that what kind of content you are posting. Is it a good content, or it's just some blah content that you are posting. Certifications are important, but in a further stage of your professional career.
So it's good to collect, but it's not a necessity. That's what I can conclude.
Yeah, let the certifications that hold value, like GCP, AWS, these certifications hold some value. Then there are certifications in Java from Sun Microsystems and all. Those hold some value. Oracle certifications are there. MongoDB certifications are there, which are genuine authorized certifications which are accepted across the industry. If you want to have some certifications, get those rather than just getting the Udemy or Coursera or HackerRank certifications. That are okay. That means that you have done something, but it's not that proctored, or it's not that regularized, or that someone will trust it blindly.
Yeah. It was so insightful that to understand all this stuff to me and obviously for the audience. Now, what I would like to ask is if you could go back and talk to the 21 years old Sarthak, what would you say? Like, and finally, what message you would like to give to our audience today? Like, they are your younger sister and brothers, yeah. Mostly our audience is in college. So, based on that.
Yeah. Uh, if I go back in time, I would say that don't focus much on the college studies if you are not planning for masters or MS or something like that. Don't focus much on that. Focus more on your skills, build rather than just building the things that are already there. Go out there, find some problem you see in daily life, try to ideate that, try to find a problem for which everybody needs a solution, try to solve it. Even if you solved it, then it's very good, but if you don't solve it, at least you will come to know how to solve a problem and what went wrong and what you could have done right. So just don't focus on the college studies, but maintain a good CG, like around 8 to 8. It should be like 8 above. 8 above. I don't think it's too difficult to get. 8 CG is fairly fine to get if you even have 50% of attendance and you listen to the lectures. You will easily get 8 CGPA. But yeah, go out there, try to solve problems, build things from scratch, understand problems, go on forums, read technical documentation, understand what other people are facing, try to solve the problems that other people are facing. Stack Overflow, Quora, Medium. If you have done something, document it out. Write a blog for Medium, write a blog for LinkedIn, post it out. Even if you are right, people will appreciate it. If you are wrong, people will try to correct you out. There might be some criticism for that you have posted wrong thing online, but don't take it too hard. Just try to improve next time.
To do, but still taking care of their mental health as well. And society in college is like valuable or it just
Yeah, so that is also very biased opinion on that. If you are planning to see, first thing is what is your liking or what are your hobbies. So if there is a society or a club that is aligning with your hobbies, then definitely go for it. Don't stop yourself. Definitely go for it. Try to be as reckless as possible with with your hobbies. Try to explore as much as you can. But yeah, if you are just joining societies and clubs for the sake of placement, or for the sake of future enlightenment, then don't. There is a lot of politics that goes into the societies and clubs. There is a lot of things that go into backend. Some people are only there for money. Some people are only there for fame. So just don't join it for that namesake kind of thing. Join it if you really want to. And yeah, if you are planning a future in tech, then try to join a tech related club. Try to solve things, build things, because in this tech sector, we say that more the brains, the better you work. Try to learn from other people, what they are thinking, what they are planning, what they are trying to solve. Help them out, get some help, and build something good. And yeah, if you have to go for masters or for MS, or if you are planning to go to foreign universities for your post-grad education, then definitely you should join some clubs and all, because in US and all, these things do matter. Canada and all, these things are definitely taken into some good consideration. Try to change something on the environmental level. Try to bring a change on some core level. There are a lot of societies related to stray animals and all. So try to do that if you like to do that thing, but it's not a compulsion to go into societies and clubs. Yeah, if someone is introvert, then definitely they should try, because that will bring out the better or the good part in you. Try it, but it is I would say it's a very biased opinion, and it is very subjective. There is no yes or no answer to it. It all depends on what you want and what the situations are for you.
Insightful. And now I'm having some clarity here as well. It's like I'm listening to a senior who is teaching me like everything from basics. So thank you so much for your time, Sarthak. I'm really grateful to have you on the show. And I hope our audience also enjoyed that. And if you have any question, everybody, I will also put link of a LinkedIn of Sarthak in the description box. So if you would like to check out and want to connect, you can. Okay. Bye.